the spoilerCast, show where we talk about movies and we don't care about spoiling them because it is the spoilerCast. My name is Tobias, and with me as always is my sister and trusted co-host Rebecca.
Hello.
Hello. And today we are talking about the latest Roland Emmerich disaster movie. Starring what's her name?
Halle Berry, Patrick Wilson, John Bradley.
Yeah.
Are the main three, I suppose.
It's Moonfall.
Oh, that was not picked up by my mic. Too loud.
Yeah. We decided to watch this because I think we've been doing pretty good with picking like smaller movies and maybe not the most obvious movies. But as I've talked about before, when we talked about Don't Look Up a couple of weeks ago, I have a huge guilty pleasure for disaster movies. We talked about on our Patreon episode for that week. We talked about the Day After Tomorrow in 2012, two other Roland Emmerich movies. And I proclaimed the Day After Tomorrow being my favorite disaster movie of all time. I think the only movie that I have ever watched back to back, like when the credits started rolling, I just started it all over and watched it again. So when there's a disaster movie coming out, I usually like go and see it.
Especially because we've been talking about Roland Emmerich. We were kind of like, well, we like his concepts a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have to check it out.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the moon crashing into Earth.
Yeah.
That's
hello.
How are they going to do this? Well, not very well. Spoilers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But let's start with you because you kept nudging me and poking me. Well, we'll get to that. Yeah. But you seemed very excited from time to time. So
I found it.
Yeah, what did you think of the movie?
Partially very exciting.
Huh?
I am still in love with the concept.
Sure, me too.
But at points it was just too silly, and
at points
it was large points, specifically towards the end. But I still found it like the storyline was like something you only see in video games. So I did love that they were like, you know what, we're gonna make a movie.
Sure.
But no, it was very, very silly, almost beyond, like, I don't know what to say, like beyond the watchability at points.
Okay, good.
But I was still like, I was still like, we have to finish this, we have to watch this, we've paid for the tickets, we're gonna talk about it. Let's watch the entire movie. We can't, like, I've never walked out of a film. I will never do that.
Me neither.
And I wasn't close to in this one, but there are instances where you maybe might fall asleep when a movie's too boring.
Yes.
And it's late at night, and you had a long day, and you're like, you know what? I don't really care. I'm gonna shut my eyes. I did not find it
that's happened
enough
to me
for that.
several times. For me, that was it.
Yes.
I wasn't even tired because, like, I at the moment I have all the free time in the world.
Yeah.
I know. So I can't blame it on like fatigue. I was just so bored out of my skull that I just kept nodding off. Like, God damn it.
Yeah. So that's why I was nudging.
I know. But also a lot of times I was just not interested. So it wasn't even that I was sleeping. I was just closing my eyes so I didn't have to like focus. I could still hear the movie. I was just like, whenever they're going to the fucking moon, okay, can we go to the moon now? Come on, please hurry up. Can we get this shit over?
Yes.
I found very little of it enjoyable. Like,
I believe
even as a dumb popcorn movie, no.
But I think if you cut some parts completely, change certain aspects, and perhaps rewrite certain things, it could be.
You have to rewrite. You have to rewrite all the characters, rewrite all the dialogue.
Well,
rewrite some of the plot.
Was very bad. For some
so
reason.
Bad. This reminded me.
Do bad dialogue normally. not that bad.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I just had a bad luck recently, because last time I saw a disaster movie like this in the cinema was Geostorm, which is not a Roland Emmerich directed movie, but it's produced by Roland Emmerich. I think it's like directed by his producer or cinematographer or something. And that one was laughably bad. I watched it with a friend of mine who's also like, he has a guilty pleasure for movies like that, and we were just constantly laughing at how bad it was. Like, we were giggling the entire movie from beginning to end. So much that people like looking at us like annoyed. And I was hoping that if this wasn't at least enjoyable as a guilty pleasure, as a popcorn movie, at least it would be funny enough. And I did laugh at some points, but overall, like, no.
I'm not sure you were supposed to laugh at it, though.
No, absolutely not. But I mean, laughing at it because it's so bad. That's what I mean.
No, because
we laughed at Geostorm because it was bad, not because it was funny. Right. Not because it was bad. Yeah. And here I was.
Moonfall reminded me of Don't Look Up very much in certain the same. It's the same order of happenings, more or less.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, they're trying to take Moonfall so much more seriously, almost to the point where they're so serious it's silly.
Yeah.
Whereas in Don't Look Up, at least embraces the silliness of it.
Sure.
And are actually trying to be funny.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Because I mean, there's this whole thing about like the families that we could just completely.
Oh God, yes, it was so.
The movie's 2 hours and about 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
And
it was so.
About 30 minutes of those are just the families going different places.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
And it had no impact on the story.
No. It had nothing to do with anything. It was only to, like, I don't know, get cool scenes where the moon is very close to the Earth and you can utilize the gravity pulled thing, whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, that didn't impact the people in space trying to stop the moon.
No,
it was just to give it like to give it a human perspective. But the humans were like hollow, and like one-dimensional characters. It was whenever they cut back to Earth, I was just like, because it was so boring. Like, I do not care about fucking long hair guy Charlie Plummer.
Yeah,
like delinquent son. Like, who cares? I think Charlie Plummer's a fine actress, but like,
have I seen him before?
He's in.
I'm not sure I have.
He's in that. No, he's in the. I recognize him from the Clovich Killer, where he plays the Boy Scout, the main character. Really good movie. Check that out. Really, really good movie.
At the beginning, when he started speaking, I was like, does he have a speech impediment, or is that just him being a very bad actor?
Well, he was terrible in this movie.
Specifically in the beginning. I mean, certainly towards the end, when he got to be a bit of a hero, he got a little bit better, but he wasn't good.
No.
Just a little bit better.
I don't
know. Speaking more clearly.
At first I thought it was Jeremy Sumpter. Now that's an actor I haven't seen in a long while.
Isn't he way too old to be playing like an 18-year-old kid?
Maybe, I don't know.
Jeremy Sumpter, wait.
He was in the Sasquatch Dumpling Gang. That's where I know him from.
Yeah.
And in that Pan movie.
Peter Pan. This
yeah.
dude's born the same year as you.
Oh, okay. Oh, so he's all grown up now.
Yeah.
Well, he looks pretty young.
Well.
I mean, 30. 30's not. Well, 32, I suppose. Hey, he actually turns 33 tomorrow. So,
happy birthday.
When you're actually seeing this episode, we're recording this on Friday, releasing on Saturday. So, happy birthday, Jeremy Sumpter. You have nothing to do with Moonfall, but anyway, happy birthday.
If you ever hear this.
Yeah. Back to Moonfall, though.
Yes, back to Moonfall. All of the family side characters and side plot things, so unnecessary.
Yeah,
it didn't bring anything to the story. except for no, not even like the whole like we have to make it back to our family. No, because they didn't care at the end.
No, when they were up there in space, like, yeah, the the family aspect didn't really
They
matter
didn't
that much.
seem to like have a single thought of their children
Nope, nope.
or their exes or whatever.
It
I
was
will give you one thing. I'm very happy we didn't have like a kiss at the end. Because I almost felt like they would kiss at the end there, and I was like, if they do that, I'm gonna like die. This movie is worse than ever then. Because Jesus Christ, I would have ruined it. But no,
yeah,
they didn't.
no,
There's
they
no kiss
didn't.
at the end. I'm sorry.
No. They Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry are just work partners
And
and
friends. Well,
a damn good
work
team.
wife.
Yeah, work wife. I hate that expression. Work wife.
Uh,
One wife's enough.
you actually don't have a single proper love story in this one. I mean, you have a married couple, but that's it.
Yeah. And that is just shoehorned in there because every movie he makes has to have the family aspect. I mean,
Yeah.
just recently
Father,
talking of
yeah.
Day After Tomorrow, which is about a father coming to save his son.
Yeah.
But in that movie, that is the core of the story. The
Yes.
plot revolves around the dad, who happens to be a climatologist,
Sure.
saving his son in New York. Same thing in 2012. I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's
the
about
dad
the end of the world, but it's literally
his
about a
family.
dad saving his family.
In this case, the dad runs away from his family.
Yeah,
He
like
leaves them
this
on
is
the
this is
planet.
about a guy trying to stop the moon from crashing into the planet. For his
Yeah.
family, not really, not
I mean,
really.
he says it once.
He says
but
that,
then,
but I mean, they're not really in the movie enough for us to care.
no.
And I mean, there's the same with Independence Day. It's all about family
Yeah.
and fathers and sons and
Yeah.
whatever.
That aspect is completely lost in Moonfall.
I think the only movie just off the top of my head that don't really have that aspect is his Godzilla. I mean, you do have
I suppose, yeah, that's true.
the main, what's her, Nick Totopoulos, the main guy, whatever the actor is called, Matthew Broderick, and the main girl, whoever her name is, they have they had a relationship that broke up and they kind of get back together, but it's not the focus of the movie.
No. That's just like a side plot.
Yeah. And this was more like this, but that in that movie it never gets in the way of the story, I think.
No.
And it's even utilized because she gets close to him since, he still has feelings for her, and that's how she manages to get the tape, the secret tape that the government knew of Godzilla before it came to New York, and blah blah blah. Here, no reason for it.
No.
And I mean, you have great actors like Michael Pena almost being completely forgotten about in the movie.
Well, at least he's not the what's it called? The comedic punchline dude.
No,
which
sure,
he
yeah.
normally is in big budget movies for some reason. It always comes to mind his like narrating stories in Ant-Man.
Yeah. Ugh.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So should we talk a little bit about the plot then?
Yes.
Because at first when I heard about this, I thought it was just going to be another classic disaster movie, like something's happened with the orbit of the moon and it's going to crash into Earth. But then,
which is what it begins as.
yeah, the first teasers and trailers were just about that.
Yeah.
But then when we went and saw Scream, I think.
Yes.
We saw a poster for it, and that poster showed the moon having like a metal structure inside it. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
Kind of looking like a half-built Death Star.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no, are they spoiling some sort of twist? It's not really a twist in the movie, but
Well, a little bit.
Yeah, but then there were some screenshots of Halle Berry standing in some sci-fi looking hallway and shit. But I tried to stay away from that because I wanted to experience it in the movie. But in the movie, it's pretty early in the movie. They're theorizing that it is a hollow moon. They're following the crackpot hollow moon theory. I mean,
which I had to look up is a real thing.
Apparently. It's a real thing. It's a real theory. Like I said, crackpots believe it's a hollow moon.
Yeah.
And I like those kind of conspiracy theories because it's turned into a conspiracy because they think that the government is hiding it for some reason.
Which they were in this one, I suppose.
Yeah, and early on in the plot, I gotta say I was excited about that. That not only is this gonna be a disaster movie, but it's a conspiracy movie as well, and it's a silly conspiracy that the moon is
Yeah.
hollow. I was like, yes. But the thing is, first of all, the disaster aspect is so lost in the movie. We do get some
Yes.
shots of like cities being hit by big tsunamis, and we see some buildings topple over, but none of the characters on Earth are really in the thick of it. They're up in
No.
Aspen, and sure, there are a few scenes towards the end where they're like struggling, but there's not a lot. This is no
Still not, like,
2012.
no, they're not like truly impacted. They're not dodging meteors or something. Everything strikes way
Yeah.
far away from them.
Which is like, if you're gonna do a
The only
schlocky
thing,
disaster movie like this, just show us them running from fireballs and
yeah,
shit. That's what we
the
care
only
about.
they utilized was the gravity pull
Yeah,
that changed once Moon got too close.
yeah, that it was starting to pull up like
Everything.
structures and yeah. And
Water.
at one point, yeah, early in the movie it pulls up water, of course, because the tides. So
Yeah.
it creates, was it tidal waves or tide waves? They call it something, not tidal wave, but they call it something
Something like
special, like
that,
tidal
yeah.
wall or something. They call it, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
It looked
a
cool.
rocket ship having to leave by flying through
That
a wall of
shot
water. That's pretty cool.
was actually
That was
pretty
pretty
cool.
cool. But that's the only really cool shot in the movie,
Yeah.
I would say.
See, the problem is, after they left Earth,
It's fucking boring.
they just lost everything.
Yeah.
The entire plot went to hell. Everything was just dull, and we had over an hour left.
Yeah, and there's a lot of malingering up in space. Nothing really
Yeah.
happening until they get to the moon. And then even when they get to the moon and there's this big chase, because they're being chased by this fucking AI that lives in the moon.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Yeah,
spoilercast.
no, I don't care about spoiling this movie.
Nah.
There's a huge, like, mechanical
Rogue
cloud. It's almost
AI
like a
thing.
cluster of, like, little metal balls or something. They're
They
supposed
call
to
it a
be
swarm.
a swarm. Yeah, it's like the swarm thing in the third Star Trek movie, of the new Star Trek movies. This is basically
Right,
the same
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Kind of looked like Venom in the beginning.
Yeah.
When you didn't really know what it was. Just
Yeah.
a black mass moving with like tendrils and stuff.
Yeah, that was the first when we see that there's this the opening of the movie takes place in 2011, when Patrick Wilson is up in space and he encounters the swarm for the first time.
Yeah.
But no one believes him. And I leaned over to you and said that, oh shit, is that the Black Knight satellite, which is another, like, not conspiracy, but it's like a theory, because there is a thing circling Earth, which no one has been able to properly explain. I think it's called the Black Knight satellite. This thing looked like it's just like, it looks almost like a rock, but it's moving like a satellite. And this looked like, if you see any pictures, it kind of looks like it before it turned into, all swirly whirly.
Yeah.
Sort of. And I was like, oh, because that was the first thing. It's like, there's some sort of conspiracy thing going on. But it wasn't the Black Knight satellite, unfortunately.
They could have utilized that. That would have been fun.
Maybe, yeah. Like, explain that, people have seen it before, but we explain it away as space debris, or call it the crackpot theory, the Black Knight satellite. Like, they knew about it, but they didn't do that. But that's fine.
Because they did have the whole thing where apparently people knew about it, but they had, hidden the evidence from the people.
Yeah.
Those 2 minutes of the first moon landing where there's the blackout.
The blackout, yeah.
The communication blackout. Apparently, NASA just turned off every live viewing to show the people because they saw lights under the surface of the moon.
Yeah.
Somehow. Which I don't fucking know. But I mean, like, they could have gone with that and just kept going with the random theories. They only mentioned like 2 other theories after that.
Yeah.
Or 2 or 3 aspects of theories, basically. The hollow moon theory, that the moon is full of crops.
Yeah.
And they talk about the whole moon is ringing like a bell for minutes or an hour or whatever it was when something hit it.
Which is also...
And that's, explaining the hollow moon thing.
Yeah. which
But
is
those are the
also
only like three things they mention specifically that is part of a theory.
yeah. So let's get into what the moon actually is. The moon is like an ancient structure from a civilization of people, humans, basically. No, they are humans.
Humanoids. Yeah, they're
They're
humans.
humans. We are their ancestors, who, like, long before we recorded any sort of history.
Long before the
Like,
Earth existed,
yeah, I
basically.
suppose. Yeah, it has to be right. Yeah.
Because you see a scene where the moon is more or less creating Earth.
Yeah, something like that. I didn't actually pay attention because I was out of it at that point. I just
Well,
saw
it
there was a
was
bunch of like these Dyson spheres flying around when they were
yeah,
explaining
but
it.
then the moon is swirling around in space, and all of a sudden it forms a ball, and then you have lava, and then you have water, and then
Oh,
you have
okay.
life.
Okay.
You must have had your eyes closed for that.
Yeah, probably. But they explain that, like, oh, they were this super advanced civilization that they didn't have any war. They basically had no crime.
They
Everyone
were
had.
perfect.
They were perfect. Yeah, they had food and everything. But the problem is, and now we're coming back to my biggest fear in life. It was all being like not controlled, but it was all being facilitated by an AI, or what we call an AI, like they said.
Yeah.
But one day, for some unforeseen reason, the AI decided to, like, nope, fuck humans, and just eradicated them all.
Yeah. Apparently, it felt like it was smarter than humans, and
Yeah,
it decided that, you know what? We are smarter. Nothing inferior will ever control us again.
yeah,
So any humanoid life, any organic life needs to be
yeah.
destroyed.
And that's what I keep saying every time. The second machines become smarter than us, we're fucked.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, we're not going to talk about that this time. You can check out our Ex Machina episode for that.
Oh yeah, that's been a while though. It's
Um,
might have to scroll back a while.
yeah, but I think it's on Spotify, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Um, yeah. So this flying machine swarm cluster thing, that is the AI basically.
Yes.
Which, they don't go into any detail like how it was created or why it decided all of a sudden. It's just like,
Oh.
oh, it turned bad. Okay, all right, whatever.
Like they just kept it in glass containers, sort of. It's
Yeah,
just weird.
sort of like a futuristic, like, Google Dot or whatever it's called, Alexa.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
Some
just started,
sort.
like, growing inside, and then it exploded out and started eating people or killing people.
Somehow.
But then it stopped because for some reason we still lived on Earth.
They managed to send out the only completed moon sphere thingy so far out into the universe that the AI had not been able to find it yet.
Right, and then it just happens to find us in 2011.
It just went out into space and started looking for organic life, and eventually in 2011 it stumbled upon humanity.
Yeah, and then it decided to use the moon
Yes,
as a
to kill
wrecking
Earth.
ball. Yeah, I don't know why, because
Because
it enters the moon in 2011, but it doesn't start, like, trying to destroy the Earth until 2022 or 23.
no, it has. The orbit has been shifting very slowly. It's not until 2000 whatever this movie's
It's
take
supposed
place.
to. I think it's this year, like 2023 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. The book that it's based on sort of is 2025, so
But it's not based on a book.
sort of.
The script is just written by Roland Emmerich, Harold Closer, and Spencer Cohen. It doesn't say any based on a novel by.
That's
And
true.
if
I
they have
suppose.
if they have based on a novel, they have to, like,
I
put
guess.
that in.
Whatever.
Take
It's
an inspiration
modern
from
day.
this.
Yeah. It's modern day. That's when the orbit has shifted so much that we are
It's
noticing
noticeable.
it.
Oh, okay, sure.
And once it's shifted this much where we start noticing it, it's getting
it's too
a bit
late.
too close,
Yeah.
and then, getting closer will only increase gravity between them, and they will
We'll
be
go
drawn
faster
into
and
each
faster.
other. Yeah.
It's cumulative.
Yes. Like when you drop a ball into a cone-shaped thing, eventually it
Yeah.
starts hitting the middle.
It's faster. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it took 10 years for us to even notice it, basically.
Sure.
And the reason for the AI to utilize the moon as a wrecking ball is because if the moon were to survive, it could recreate Earth again.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
So
the moon created Earth and somehow dispatched DNA
I think
that
it
created a
just want to be
human somehow.
thorough, and like
Yeah.
Ricky would say, get two birds stoned at once.
Yeah, or just how Halle Berry said it, killed two birds with one stone.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's the joke. I know. It's a
she
Ricky-ism.
actually said it in the movie though.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I didn't notice that.
No, but she did.
I was
Oh,
probably
it's
looking at my.
killing two birds with a stone, with one stone.
Oh, okay, well, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, but Ricky's funnier. Anyway, yeah. So they go into the moon to try and
Yes.
destroy this AI with an EMP, which the army had been
army,
working on for the last like 10 years, as as long as they had
even
known about it.
before 2011, seemed
Maybe,
like, but
yeah.
that makes no sense
No,
really.
I don't know. Maybe they were
Unless
working
they
on the
knew
EMP,
the Earth was hollow,
or they
and
were
they
just
were
working
like,
on an EMP weapon.
in case.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, EMPs can be good for human warfare as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Cutting off your
But of
enemy's
this,
electricity. Oh, they're like they're useless.
yeah, but this magnitude, it was supposed to be a big thing. Well, whatever. They scrapped it anyways because it cost too much money.
Yeah,
And they had no real use for something that big. So
it cost too much money to save Earth.
well, they
Like what?
they don't want to tell people that.
No, yeah.
I
Anyway,
did like that we had very little of the whole holy shit, the Earth is dying and then we're all gonna go crazy because why the fuck not? We had a little bit of the rioting and the looting and stuff, but not too much of it.
no, it focused
Which I
more on.
like.
Unlike Don't Look
saving.
Up, it focused on the scientists and the astronauts. But I mean, it's the same plot as Don't Look Up.
Yes.
People started rioting. Everyone's like, "Oh shit, this is the end of the world. Fuck
No
everything."
one wanted to believe the scientists
Yeah.
first and tell anyone, so then, he tweeted it out.
Yeah, exactly. But then
And that's when the religious cults became. And
yeah. But yeah, they
something
didn't
about
focus on any of that.
stars fall, don't fall asleep.
Yeah, when the stars fall,
I would
stay awake.
him. He looked cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so then they go into the moon, and they manage to explode this EMP, to kill off the
swarm.
the swarm. And then they go back, which was kind of neat because they are literally like always. It's always down to the last second in these movies.
Oh yes.
The moon is literally like scraping the mountains in Colorado. Yeah, when they manage to destroy the AI so that the moon can course correct, because it is going like all the machinery in there is still working, so it is.
Yeah.
That's why it's kept its trajectory.
The AI is suppressing the energy core, which is a white dwarf,
exactly.
the star.
Yeah.
And when the energy is suppressed, it loses engine power basically, and starts losing
going towards
power.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, moves.
So when the EMP kicks in, it starts course correcting. But yeah, they're literally scraping the mountains.
Yes, and luckily, that end of the moon where they are is facing straight towards Earth, so they can use the pressure wave of the EMP along with the gravity to be able to get back to Earth.
Yeah, so they just shoot out of the moon, and they're literally landing like next to where their families are. Yes, everything just lines up, and everyone ends up in Colorado in the end for some reason.
Yeah, what's so special about Colorado?
Well, I guess it's
America
the highest elevation in America or something. I don't know. Whatever. It's the Rocky Mountains. That's I guess the biggest mountain, whatever it's called, mountain chain of mountains in America. I don't know.
I suppose.
And they're like, oh well, I guess we survived. All's well that ends well. But we don't really get to see the magnitude of the destruction, and I mean, it must have been horrendous.
Sure, they saved the Earth. It's what she said. She said it didn't even break or something.
Yeah.
But how many humans are actually alive? Like, how many humans were sucked up in between Earth and Moon and just died from lack of air? Or, when the gravity started dropping again, they fell to Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, I mean, we had one point where birds literally fell out of the sky
Because
due
there
to
was no
lack of
air. There was no
oxygen.
air left. Yeah. Which is one other detail I want to add. Like we're armchair scientists here. We don't know anything.
Yes, definitely.
But they have a sequence where what's his name? Michael Pena. Is that his name? Michael?
Yeah, Tom Lopez in the
Michael
movie.
Pena, yeah. They're running around. He's placed the stepfather to Patrick Wilson's kid and his own children, of course.
Yeah.
And they're running around and they're collecting oxygen
Oxygen
canisters,
tanks.
oxygen tanks. But he's because the oxygen is starting to dissipate because the moon is literally pulling it out of the
Yeah.
atmosphere or pulling the atmosphere away from Earth.
Yeah.
Which like that's not just gonna take away the air. It's gonna make it super cold. It's gonna have a more long lasting effect because he gets trapped and suffocates, but later there's air everywhere. I mean, the
Yeah,
air
because when the
doesn't.
moon kind of pulled away, the oxygen just came back.
I guess the atmosphere came back. I mean, the atmosphere doesn't just come back. That's why we have holes in the ozone layer. It doesn't just come
Yeah.
back. If it's
No,
damaged,
but
it has to be patched up.
yeah. In the movie they made it more like if you put an object in water, the water moves, and then when you pull the object back, the water goes back into place. That's
Yeah,
how they kind of did oxygen here. And then
but water and air is not the same.
no, but that's how they
Okay.
did it, it seemed. But that's not how it works, right?
No, I don't think it would work like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would, but it did
So
sound
like
very
oxygen
stupid.
came and went, which was just odd.
Yes, it was. It was silly.
But
Um,
then, but then later on, when they could utilize gravity again to jump further, there was no problem with the
yeah.
oxygen by then.
Then they weren't bothered by the oxygen. Yeah, yeah. Because
And how did they manage to jump up and then come down while
well,
trees and cars around
yeah,
them just went up to the moon?
because
Because they have, the power of humanity pulling them down. I
yeah,
don't know what.
when Charlie Plummer is running in with the nanny and the little other kid, Halle Berry's kid, running into like a farmhouse
Tunnel.
or something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the farmhouse.
and to so they can
How
hold on
did
to something. So the house is there, fine, because it's stuck with a foundation. That's fine.
sure?
But when they're in the house, they're not affected by gravity or the loss of gravity. But the tractor inside the building is because it
Yeah,
starts moving towards them, but it gets stuck
but
so
a
they don't get crushed.
tractor weighs way more than them.
Yeah. So
How are
why
they
aren't they
fine?
why aren't they being sucked up towards the ceiling then?
Like, I'm sure, yeah, fine, whatever. It's the movie magic and all that shit. But
Yeah.
there's a point where that just doesn't make
Yeah,
sense anymore.
and we've talked about this many times. As long as there's an internal logic, then
Yeah,
it's fine.
it's
Like,
fine.
but in that case, they would be dragged along with the tractor because they weigh less than the tractor.
And it wasn't even like they were struggling against the wall. No, they
No,
were
they were
just
just
standing
standing
there,
there.
being almost scared to be crushed by the tractor.
Yeah, more like it was almost like they thought that the moon was sucking things. So if you're in the house,
Uh,
you're fine. No. It's gravity. Gravity dissipating. It's not a sucking motion. It's just gravity.
even though, even that, I mean, the tractor was in the
Yes,
house and it
yes.
was moving,
And there was a
but
lot.
they weren't.
And there were a lot of those instances where like cars and trees
Yeah,
were like flying up, but they
everything.
could still drive on the streets for some
Yeah,
reason.
everything reacted except for what they were using for
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah. And
It's just
it was just immersion breaking constantly.
yeah.
Um, it was so bad. It was so fucking bad.
I mean, if you cut out the whole family bits, then you wouldn't have a lot of those gravity defying things.
Yeah,
So you wouldn't have reacted too much to that. Then it would have just been the terrible dialogue and boring shit happening in space.
yeah. You know what they should have done? since they were banking hard on this this hollow moon thing and a whole nother civilization living inside the moon a
Yeah.
long time ago. Because also, like, because it's a Roland Emmerich movie, they have like literal seconds to save the Earth. I
Of
mean,
course.
when they're leaving, this literally like we have to leave in 28 minutes or we'll all die, and it's too late forever. It's always like in the nick of time. Imagine if they actually went up into space like 2 months before it's gonna happen.
Yes.
Just to be sure, not leave in the very last second. And we focus on the space part of the script of the story. And first of all, maybe you can have like a dangerous journey to the moon because they have to go through. The gravity is fucked up and there's a bunch of debris and stuff.
Yeah.
If you want an action scene, which they kind of have in the movie, but it's always cutting back and forth between that and Earth, which sucked.
Yes.
But then have like them actually go into the moon, and not just for like 5 minutes, which they do here to give us exposition. What if they actually went in there? They walked around in the Dyson sphere, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. More sciencey stuff.
And they were like, "Is this a space station?" But it's all abandoned. You can even see like signs of struggles. They might even find like a super old skeleton or something. It's about humans, and then they piece together by finding like logs or diaries, and they realize that shit, like this is some sort of ancient civilization. This might be the cradle of our civilization.
Yeah, because they can see similarities and stuff.
Yeah, and then they
get
to the core where the AI is like sucking the power out of the white dwarf, and they put the EMP in there, and they're like, okay, the second we turn this on, because it reacts to biological and electrical energy. That's how it finds humans.
Together, because otherwise there's not a human sentient life that can destroy them.
Which is fine. That's fine.
I suppose, yeah.
So okay, the second we turn this on, that AI is going to gun for us, because it's not smart to realize that 3 humans is not as important as the entire Earth, which was dumb. But whatever. So the second we turn this on...
Well, it was smart enough to know that it was these 3 were trying to destroy it, I suppose.
I guess.
Because it never really cared about actually going to Earth to destroy things. It wanted to destroy the moon.
But it stopped pulling the moon towards Earth to kill the first space mission up to the moon.
But that was because it didn't want to get caught.
Yeah, but it got filmed anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. But they go in there, and like, so when we turn it on, we gotta fucking gun it back to the ship and get out of there. And they realize that, oh no, the remote control or something doesn't work, and that's why one person has to stay behind, because the nerd here, John Bradley, playing Casey Houseman, Dr. Casey Houseman, he stays behind to arm the EMP.
Yes.
But we were saying before because they were like, oh my god, he died up there, he sacrificed himself to save Earth, and we're like, but there was no explosion, like, as long as there's oxygen, he'll be alive there, and wouldn't you know?
Until he dies from starvation.
Yeah, and he is
but
dead
no, they
in the
said
end,
there were,
because
they said there were
he
grains.
they transferred his mind, his brain, basically.
Yeah, into the ship.
Into the ship's computer, because that's how
AI, the good AI.
No, I don't think that was AI. That was just the computers.
They kind of said that there was a good AI of some sort, but it wasn't as advanced as the bad AI, because it hasn't become sentient.
Because that's how we get all this exposition the first time. Patrick Wilson is walking around in there, and then he gets beamed.
No, they crash in. Patrick Wilson is for some reason chosen.
Oh, right.
And grabbed by this whatever computer.
Yes. To
be basically beamed into the computer to get the exposition, which we just get to see through him then.
Yeah, and it's this the AI or the computer takes the shape of his young son.
And then his older son.
Yeah, and explains everything, which is silly. It would have been much more fun if they actually walked around and saw all this, and we got to actually take in some of the technology instead of just flying through it in 3 minutes.
They could have even run into a part of the AI, a Cortana of some sort.
Yeah, sure.
that could have told them, or oh, what's the AI on the Citadel in Mass Effect called?
Avina?
Avina, yes.
Well, she's a
Where you can
VI.
just, yeah, but whatever, you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah,
Like,
sure.
has some storage, has some stored like information that you can, if you ask the right questions, you can get the
Yeah,
info.
sure. Um, no, but instead they went with exposition dump.
Yeah.
5 minutes. Let's move on to the explosions. But then let's say then that he is just left behind. He's like, I won't make it. You have to go back to your families. I don't have anyone
Yeah.
anyway. Whatever. And then they cut back. He's still alive because the AI was destroyed by the EMP, and there's not a physical explosion, so he's fine. And then he's left up there, but we saw that there was a bunch of like unused food up there. That's still like edible. It looked like. So he'll be fine, like living up there, and he can say like, "Let's see what we can do with this," because they're sequel baiting in the end with him being part of the construct, and they're like, "Let's get to work." Get to work with what? Cut the credits, which was fucking awful because they're never gonna make it. There's always sequel bait in the end of his movies nowadays, and it never works because they always flop. Like there was,
even if they don't, there's nothing to, like, we don't need a sequel here. What are they gonna do? Create a new Earth? Move the moon away from the existing Earth to start over someone? Like, they can't do anything.
I mean, they could do
He's just a man in the moon now.
They could do some sort of science fiction story with that, but it would not feel like a sequel to this. That's a problem.
No.
Anyway,
what is he gonna communicate with people that are going to explore the rest of space?
Or maybe I don't know, like because
Cortana now.
I do like the concept of him being left up there and like having access to all this technology. It's just boring that he is part of the AI instead of him actually being up there.
You know what? They should have done it like in Passenger, basically. There's just two people awake on a giant ship, and they can do whatever they want with what's on the ship.
Yeah, or him like activating all this technology again, and being able to then for a sequel then being able to contact Earth and say like, I have all this shit up here, just get up here and I'll show you. Or he'll even go down to them and like, and you can try to build build up this utopia again. But of course, there's opposition because the human factor will always be there, and they could do something like that, more like a classic, like old school sci-fi concept with it.
Yeah.
The way they did it now is just boring.
Yes.
Because he's not alive, and they're not going to do that.
No, and nothing in the movie was enough.
No.
Really?
Yeah, it was, and that's just like Geostorm. Like, Geostorm is about a madman being able to control the weather. Like, literally, like, freezing cities, shooting lightning at cities. And
like a cartoon evil guy?
There's literally a madman.
Doofenshmirtz, for whatever his name is, in Phineas and Ferb, who like creates dangerous weapons.
Basically, it's a crazy
bad.
It's a crazy right-wing politician who's like, "Oh, damn liberals! I'm gonna kill them with snowstorms." Basically,
what the fuck?
That movie is fucking ridiculous. I would actually want to rewatch that just because it's so hilariously bad.
You know what? We'll put it on the list sometime in the future.
Yes, we should do Geostorm at some point. Because it's so bad. But the problem with that one is also that they're rushing through all the fun, like, disaster stuff. Like, we see entire cities being, like, leveled and destroyed by fireballs and thunderstorms, but they're all, like, done in, like, a minute.
And it's all we never get to see anyone reacting to it that is down on Earth, basically.
And at least that's what I think is fun with disaster movies. To see Jake Gyllenhaal run away from the tsunami into the Library of New York, the public library in New York. To
have John Cusack driving away from an earthquake, basically.
Yeah, he's driving away from the Yellowstone volcano, which it is now. Or him running away from the pyroclastic cloud, which is impossible, but or them flying through Los Angeles that's breaking apart and falling into the ocean. Or in Independence Day, them like running away from these like walls of fire. Like,
Yes.
that's the fun kind of vicarious entertainment you get out of disaster movies. In this, there's like these short 30-second snippets of this, and of those kind of sequences, and it's just this. It's so scattered between trying to tell a real sci-fi story and doing a disaster movie. It's no fun.
And the disasters, there's no impact of the disaster. We don't get any emotional impact of it. Like,
since we don't know the characters.
First of all, that we don't know the characters, and also none of the actual big stuff is happening to the few characters we have.
No, they're all fine.
Because the main characters are in space, or the other ones are just magically fine somehow.
Yeah.
There's this long, unnecessary, extra bunch of sequences with a bunch of looters chasing his son,
taking their cars and trying to steal the oxygen tanks.
Yeah. Somehow they keep running into the same person.
Like 3 times.
Yeah.
And it's so
dumb.
I think they're also then trying
the first one is sort of fine.
Yeah, because you just see them looting a store, and then they just happen to be in the same... No,
that's not them.
Is it?
I'm thinking when the car is broken down, and they're like, "Hey, could you give us a lift?"
Right.
And they
Sorry.
the car.
Sure.
That one works.
Yeah, because it's showing us. It's showing the desperation of humans that they're now they're willing to kill to survive, basically. But then
apparently
they turn into bad guys and just chasing them and like trying to take everything they have. Ha ha ha!
Because they run into them
like
again,
snarling and aiming guns at them, like hee hee hee. Basically, it was like, what the fuck? And I get also it's the whole thing that like it's not nature that is evil; it's humans that are evil.
Yeah, but
like
that's not showing it with this.
Yeah, that's
this
not
just
what this
feels like
movie's
vendetta.
about. Yes, exactly. That's not what this movie is about anyway. This is about an evil AI using the moon as a wrecking ball. Like, come on.
Screw the
priorities,
impact
bro.
Here, we don't care. We care about the evil AI in space. We care about the moon, not the people on Earth. Obviously.
Honestly, the disaster aspect of this movie should have been removed. It should have been pure sci-fi.
I mean, sure, at the beginning, you need to have the beginning a little bit.
Yeah, to show, like,
otherwise
shit,
they don't
this
have
is
a reason
dangerous.
To leave Earth.
Yeah, we have to leave Earth to save Earth. And then we could have seen, like, like, newscasts of it, but never cut to actual humans trying to escape the moon,
That's what I said in the beginning.
Focus on the space people.
If we skipped the whole family bits,
we
would have cared. It would have been a little bit better, at least.
Yeah.
Then, of course, there's still stuff that needs to be rewritten.
Yeah, like we said, all the dialogue is so
honestly,
dumb.
The Metascore is reflecting that.
Yeah,
the Metascore is 36.
Yeah, I didn't read anybody. Yeah, it has a low Metascore.
The top one is 60. The lowest one is 20. Oof. And even the 60, like the first line is, Moonfall is stupid. In other words, but I don't mind admitting that it feels at this point in time like my kind of stupidity.
Sure, but there's better stupidity than
stupid.
And then we have
in the second one, the 58. It's not that a great disaster movie can't be made in 2 hours or less. It's that Roland Emmerich doesn't know how to do it.
That's true. His best...
I'd add any more, at least.
Yeah, his best disaster movies are all over 2 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean...
That's true.
I am one of few that actually like Independence Day Resurgence, the sequel, and I think you at least preferred over the original.
It, I think, yeah.
And that's actually... I think that's shorter than this. I think it's an hour 56 or something.
Something like that. Because I remember we mentioning, like, shit, it's under 2 hours.
Yeah, which, if you want to check that out, it's a really old episode when we talk about that, which is only on YouTube,
yes.
but, if you're there. Yeah, because that one is much better than the original. People have these rose-tinted glasses on when they watch Independence Day. Independence Day sucks. I mean, in general, it's fine, but it's so bloated. It's like 2.5 hours long. It doesn't need to be.
Definitely not. It's like when you like, all the old things are always better. What's it called? Nostalgia.
Nostalgia, yeah. And it's definitely nostalgia. That movie is not great. It's fine at best. But honestly, it's just boring.
I found the best tag, like the perfect sentence to explain Moonfall.
Oh?
IGN's critic start, like the start of it. Moonfall makes its big ideas feel small and unimportant.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nothing seems to matter, really. Yeah. Even though they're saving the world from the moon.
Because it doesn't feel like they're saving the world. It only feels like they care about killing this thing, but not for the reason to save the world.
Yeah.
They just want to kill it because it's bad, I suppose. It's attacking them. I don't know. They don't really have a reason to actually care. It doesn't feel like it, at least.
No, this is really bad. I'm actually on Metacritic.com here. It has 6 positive reviews, where the best is actually, you didn't see the best one on IMDb. The best is 77. That's pretty high. It's from Paste. I don't know what Paste is. It's some magazine. Aurora Amidon writes, in a world full of soulless, self-conscious, CGI rampant action flicks and superhero movies that seem like they were made by robots, Emmerich seems to really care about his movie, and that's trying to get behind. Like, no, there's no real care put into this, is there? Maybe a little bit.
No.
Maybe a little bit.
No, barely.
I wouldn't say this is better than Marvel movies.
You know what? The only thing that was actually, for the most part, done quite well was the CGI.
The CGI was good.
Except for the water at one point. It looked really bad when it was coming in over LA.
Yes.
It looked, and the boats were almost like lagging. I'm sure they were like stuck and stuff, but it looked so fake.
It looked weird, yeah. It almost looked like the water was not too thick, almost like too watery. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. It actually has another 70 out of 100 from The Wrap, William Bibbiani. Absurd as it is, Moonfall represents yet another bold stroke of maximalist grandeur from a filmmaker who excels at making overwhelming chaos look beautiful. This is like one of his worst movies. What are you talking about? Whatever. Let's see, the worst one. Oh, here. It actually got a... well, hold on. Let's see all 31 reviews. It got a bunch of 25s and 20s out of 100.
Yeah.
But James Berardinelli, for real reviews, he's a pretty good reviewer. He gave it a 0. Now that's not often.
No.
He writes, the blurb at least, there's nothing worthwhile here. The landscape of wretched banality offers only wasted time and a sense of despair. I agree, sir.
I'm scrolling through the user reviews because that's always fun.
That's always fun. Yeah. Kind of what do they say? Because
lots of them are below 4.
It has a 5.
I found one that's a 5.
It has a 5.3, so it's slightly better than the critic score.
Yeah, the 5 here has the best title: Arthur C. Clarke worthy idea, Troll 2 worthy writing and directing.
Yeah, I agree, because this is the whole Hollow Moon being is home to an AI and an ancient civilization. Yeah, that is classic sci-fi.
Somehow, though, one person is giving it a 10 out of 10.
Yes, a unique particle, epicness of glorious proportions.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't understand the hate besides some scenes with some poor dialogue. The movie is beyond awesome. I would void out anything bad about it. It reminded me of Day After Tomorrow in 2012, but better.
What?
And I crave anything scientific, alien-related, which I absolutely love all that.
Sure.
The movie... It's so much fun, beautiful, great concept, has solid comedy? Where?
There was only unintentional laughs from me, so I don't know.
Yeah, glad I saw it in IMAX, sure, because some of the moon bits were actually kind of cool to see in IMAX.
Yeah, we saw it in IMAX, and sure. The CGI and all the explosions were cool in IMAX, but that's not enough for a movie, you know?
No. Catwoman Ed Warren and Samuel Tarly save the world in this preposterous blockbuster. That's a 4 out of 10 underneath that.
Halle Berry is Catwoman, sorry. I was thinking of the new Catwoman. I was like, what? Was she this?
No. The old Catwoman. Well, the separate Catwoman, I suppose?
Yeah, the last... No, not the last... The Halle Berry the worst Catwoman.
Yeah, but the one that has nothing to do with Batman.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Here's one where it has a 4 out of 10, which is basically, I mean, I would probably give it a lower score, but
I can tell you straight away, I just rated it on Letterboxd as we were talking about it.
Yeah.
I gave it 1.5.
Yeah, probably give it.
It's only concept that is enough for me.
Yeah, I'll probably land on a 1 or 1.5 too. But here, it says a 4 out of 10. Better watch the brilliant Don't Look Up instead, because Moonfall
Ay.
is storyline silliness to the max. Don't Look Up, honestly, if I had to pick one of these to watch again, I would pick Moonfall, because at least it was, some scenes were so bad they were good, and it's half an hour shorter.
Yes.
So I'd rather watch Moonfall again, honestly.
And also, we don't have to have all that stupid political crap that was annoying. The one little political thing we have is basically people going, well, I don't care enough to keep my position. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, I don't care what you say. I'm not going to shoot the moon yet because my ex-wife is up there.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people is actually giving it 10 out of 10. I don't get it.
But there's always going to be people like that.
Sure,
and a lot of those might not even be, real, so to speak.
Yeah.
But here is like if they get like a 7 out of 10, you have to guess that they're actually being honest, because no one gives, like, trolling a movie by giving it a 7 out of 10. But 7 out of 10, is this a Moonfall from glory? And then
someone noted that in the tagline on IMDb, it says, in Moonfall, a mysterious force knocks the moon from its orbit around the Earth and sends it hurtling with a D in a collision course with life. Yes, someone mentioned that if people actually knew what they were talking about, it should have been with the T.
Hurtling, yeah, because
hurtling is jumping over things.
Yeah, hurtling is going towards something, right?
So, yes.
English is not my first language, but I know that much.
Still, and I mean, that's about how bad the movie was written as well.
5 out of 10. A quite fun Armageddon action flick.
No, where's the Armageddon though?
Yeah, you know what? Watch Armageddon instead. That's better, and it's a crappy movie.
Out of all these like disaster movies we've been talking about lately, the ones who are actually good are the older ones.
Yeah.
Anything produced after 2012 almost.
Yeah.
When it comes to disaster movies,
I would there is it's not a disaster movie on the same scale. But I saw a Korean movie. I actually saw it on the Stockholm Film Festival back in 2011, where they had like, it was just like a random South Korean like blockbuster, but it was showing on like the foppy pretentious film festival because it was Korean.
Yeah.
But it was a disaster movie about an earthquake sealing a tunnel in the mountains shut, and the people inside the tunnel trying to survive. It's just called Tunnel. And it was actually...
I recognize that, yeah.
I made a review for it. Not 2011, sorry, 2016, because I didn't make videos in 2011.
No.
2016. And it's on a much smaller scale, like I said. It's just one tunnel up in the mountains of Korea.
Yeah.
But, I like that as well. It reminded me a lot of Daylight. I love Daylight.
Yes.
That's a fun movie, what's it called? Guilty Pleasure. But anyway.
Yeah.
And that one's actually made in 2016. And I would recommend that, because since it's a smaller disaster, there is much more focus on the human drama, like the survival aspect. And even another fun aspect about that one is how... usually in movies, journalists and, the news media is always kind of parasitic when it comes to situations like this.
Because, they just want to make a story out of it.
Yeah, but in this movie, if I remember it correctly, I haven't seen it in 6 years now, they have like, they have more technology to work with. They have drones, and they can contact the people inside the tunnel through the internet and stuff. So they actually help the like disaster relief personnel to save them with their... by flying the drones through cracks where humans can't get and stuff, and it's
to know if they need to go that way.
Yeah, it's a great movie, both like as a character driven drama and as a disaster movie. I actually got to do a Q&A, not me specifically, but the audience had a Q&A with the director afterwards. It was really cool. That of course helps me liking the movie, but it's good. It's hard to find, because if you just look for Tunnel 2016, there's this horror movie that comes up all the time. But try to look for like Tunnel Korean movie 2016. It's really good if you like disaster movies.
Yeah, because, anything this size disaster movie produced since basically 2012 just sucks.
There's one. San Andreas. you remember San Andreas?
Oh,
The Rock
yeah.
with Dwayne Johnson movie.
It's actually okay.
It's actually okay. It's not as good as 2012 or 2019 or
No,
2019.
because I mean,
The
you
day
have
after
The
tomorrow.
Rock
Yeah,
being the main person.
at that point, I still liked him, but now he is so overplayed. I'm so
Yeah.
done with The Rock movies. They're so
Yeah, because that was like one of the first one where he was just the main action dude doing something to be the main action dude, not
yeah,
being The Rock.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But now he's transitioned from being the main action dude into being the main action and being The Rock.
yeah, like
He's brought back The Rock into it all.
yeah.
But when was that released?
2017, 18. I don't know. It was in 3D.
2015.
2015 even.
Yep.
Is it that long ago?
Yep.
Jesus, then maybe Tunnel is older. I need to look this up.
But yeah, San Andreas, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's it's fine.
It's yeah, but it's not as good. But the action and the disaster part of it is definitely better than what we've had lately.
Oh yes. Oh, by the way, here it is. You just look for Tunnel. It's made in 2016. It's got a 68 Metascore. See, it's pretty good.
San Andreas only has a 43.
Yeah, well, it's not a great movie.
I mean,
it's
it's
a
better
guilty
than-
pleasure. It's
And it's better than Moonfall.
better than Moonfall. Oh yeah, it's better than Geostorm. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, this was just a bad movie, and I'm really sad. Like I don't expect like great filmmaking when I watch movies like this, but at least expect them to revel in the disaster.
Yeah, like great action.
Yes, and this movie didn't really have that.
No.
A little bit, but like I said, most fun stuff was constantly being interrupted. Like the space stuff was constantly being interrupted by cutting back to the people on Earth, and it ruined it.
Too long.
Pacing was
Cutbacks
ruined.
too.
Yes,
Because it wasn't like a couple of minutes. No. You were sitting there like watching them go through so much stuff before you almost forgot there was a thing going on in space in between.
yeah. So I'm very.
I don't recommend it. I'm very disappointed.
I'm very disappointed as well. I was hoping for some dumb fun, and it was just dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it.
No. That's it. It was dumb.
It's dumb.
Not worth it.
And not even if
Definitely do not pay for it.
No,
I mean, you want to see it.
you can always
Wait
wink
for
wink
it to
download
find it.
it on the internet. So.
Find it online for free. That's all I'm gonna say. Or stream it, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just watch. You know what? Watch Tunnel instead. Watch 2012 instead. But
Yes.
if you wanna see or if you wanna get some good recommendations when it comes to more sci-fi disaster movies, this Monday, if you're listening to this on Saturday the 5th of February 2022, we are doing our Patreon exclusive episode, which we do every Monday, and our next episode is on Steven Spielberg's forgotten action masterpiece, War of the Worlds. A movie that's pretty damn good, but no one talks about it anymore. So we thought that was going to be a companion piece to this.
Yes.
So if you want to
Disclaimer though, it's recorded out of order, so we're not making any references.
yeah,
back
we're
to
not referencing
Moonfall.
Moon at all because we recorded that yesterday.
Yes.
But still.
Sorry.
But if you want to check that one out, it's on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. And for just $3 a month, you get exclusive episodes like that every week. Next week, actually, after War of the Worlds, we're doing Lamb as a follow-up to our next free episode, which is Pig.
Yes.
Anyway, but also for these $3, you get to tell us what movies to talk about. If it's a new movie, you want us to talk about an old movie, or you also get monthly commentary tracks. And if you want to tell us a movie we should do a commentary track, like a reaction track or something, just tell us and we'll do it because you're a paying customer.
Yes,
And
we'll do anything for our patrons.
Yes,
Almost.
almost, exactly, almost.
Almost.
But you also get early access to my other podcast, Madness in the Method, where we talk about Nicolas Cage movies. And you also get the occasional, I don't know what you want to call it, re-edit of movies. I am releasing next week I am releasing my complete edition of Evil Dead, which is a 4.5-hour cut of all movies cut together, because that works.
Also, you get the occasional preview of the free episode of the spoilerCast.
If we're watching like something in the middle of the week and recording it on a Wednesday or whatever, you get to listen to that before everyone else. So
there's a lot for just $3.
Yeah, or if you just want to, support, but you don't really care about the extras, there's a $1 tier where you just get our thanks. Or if you're insane, there is a $10 and $20 tier that doesn't really get you anything else, but we will be very thankful. So yeah.
Either way, if you're just listening to the episodes, the free episodes, thank you very much.
Of course.
Check out our socials. Links are everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And look out for our next episode, which is going to be on Pig. Very different from this episode.
Yes.
But until then, have a good one. Bye. Oh, and I did it again. Hold on. Let me turn on the music. Bye.